Good morning. But before I start, I'd like to say this. I'm wearing blue and white. You don't see red. But there is red underneath these pants. So I want you to know I'm red, white, and blue. Good morning to all of you. It is my privilege and honor to host this special day Veterans Program. We are all here to honor those who served in our armed forces, which include the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Air Corps, the Coast Guard, the National Guard, the WACs, the WAVs, the WAFs, and the Merchant Marine. And if I left out anybody, please forgive me. We are also here to honor all of those men who came back, all of those who came back wounded and hurt, and all of those who did not come back to their loved ones. We can only imagine what effects fighting in wars can have on the human mind and souls. But we were able to continue with our lives and become productive Americans. So now here we are again honoring all of our veterans on this, their special day, as they all helped keep our country free from those who would seek to destroy us as a nation. Also to honor all of those veterans who fought for us in the past, in the future, and I hope not to have to in the future. In the present and not to have to in the future. So now on with our program. First off, we're going to have Erwin Braun do a benediction.
A prayer for peace. May it be your will, eternal one, that wars and bloodshed be abolished from the world, and bring into the world a great and wonderful and lasting peace. And let no nation lift the sword against a nation. Let them learn no more the ways of war.
Thank you, Erwin. Now we are going to have the presentation of colors. Neil Stolar will be carrying the American flag. Please stand. Thank you. And now Neil will do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Palm Isle Singers will now do our national anthem.
Stripes and bright
Alan Braun will now do a tribute to POWs and MIAs.
To all the American warriors, the pride of our nation, then and now, who were there when it counted and where it counted, at the times of our country's greatest peril. To the American fallen, for those whom there was never to be a homecoming, may they rest beneath the white markers and the murmuring waves. And in our blessed memory always, for they sacrificed all their tomorrows so that we may have our todays. This is not only a day of celebration, it's a day when all of us should think about the sacrifices that these brave men and women made while being held by the enemy, about the horror of the Bataan Death March, the horror of Japanese and German prison camps, the inhuman treatment of those captured by the North Koreans and the Viet Cong and the Taliban. It is also a day when we should think about all the parents who've endured not knowing where their sons and daughters were or are. For some, their vigil is not over. Above all, to those who suffered captivity and to those whose fate remains unknown, we promise you shall not be forgotten. And this Veterans Day, we want to remember 3 veterans who lived here in Palm Isles. These members of the greatest generation participated in this program every year, and they are here in spirit. Lieutenant Bill Soskin, who participated in the D-Day invasion. Sergeant Leonard Levine, who served as a radio man in the Philippines. And Technical Sergeant Mickey Baskin, who flew 35 missions over Germany. They gave the best years of their lives so that we could live in freedom. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Now the Singers of Palm Isle are going to do a combination of U.S. service anthems.
When you hear your service being announced, please stand and sing along. If you are the spouse, partner, the loved one who's gone. We start with 2 that are not traditional. One is the Coast Guard. We did have one. If does anybody here serve in the Coast Guard? I would like one of the cops, please, to stand up, because we only had one person ever here from the Coast Guard, and that was Lenny Kurtz. And will somebody from the cops please just stand for him? Oh, wait a second, I'm sorry. Let me start with the Merchant Marine. Okay, sit down. We may have to get you back up again in a moment. The Merchant Marine, people may not know that, but they had a 50% casualty rate because of the submarines that were out there at that time. So we start with the Merchant Marine. Is that correct? Ah, good, thank you. So, Merchant Marine. Give us the oil, give us the gas, give us the shells, give us the guns. We're the ones who see them through. Give us the tanks, give us the planes, give us the parts, give us the ship, give us a hit parade, and we'll be on our way. Heave ho, my lads, heave ho. Another one that is not traditional, and there's no way of singing its song because of the music. This is the National Guard. And we are going to, well, you'll see what we're going to do about the National Guard does have an anthem, and we're going to sing it, sing it now.
I was a Minuteman at Concord Bridge. The shot heard round the world, and I was there on Bunker Hill when Old Glory was unfurled. And when my country called me from within or from afar, I'll be the first to answer, proud to be the Guard. Defending freedom, protecting dreams, this is the spirit of what it means to me. For my God and my home that I love, I guard America. And in the eyes of my enemies, or in the eye of a storm, I face the dangers as they come, in any shape or form. I am your sons, your friends, your fathers, and your daughters working hard to be the best and keep us strong. Proud to be the Guard. Defending freedom, protecting dreams. This is the spirit of what it means to me. For my God and my home that I love, I guard America.
Now we go to the traditional anthems, starting with the Coast Guard. And if somebody in the cops will stand for many Kurtz, we will start there, and we will tell you, if you've forgotten, which sort of, no, I'm not going to remind you what service you served in. But do stay. Okay.
So here's the Grossman marching song. We sing on land or sea, through surf and storm and howling gale. I shall our purpose be. Set the provinces our guide, our fame, our glory too. To
Well done. Now we're going to have Neil do a dedication. Neil Stolar.
This Veteran Day program is dedicated to all of our servicemen and servicewomen who served our country during wars and between wars. They sacrificed the best years of their lives so we can enjoy the values and freedom that we hold dear. So as everyone now says, if we see someone in uniform, or those of us who were in uniform, thank you for your service. We also wish to acknowledge that our country is celebrating the 241st anniversary of the United States Marine Corps. Semper Fidelis!
Thank you, Neil. Well done. Now, we're going to have a musical melody by, again, the singers. Come on.
Before we start the next song, I would like to tell you that the words, the melody is from a show, but the lyrics were written by our poet laureate, Bill Soskin, and we sing this in his honor. Stout-hearted men, and here we go. Our next song was written with a very famous composer, Frank Lesser, when he was a private in the Army. And the song is, What Do We Do in the Infantry?
Son of a gun in the signal corps is traveling on a bike.
Our next song, it may have been a real song or a poem. I think it was a song with some kind of melody, but we are going to speak it because it's again one of these pieces which the melody just isn't too singable. And this is the Vietnam Wall. It's a beautiful poem and talks about all the things that people leave at the foot of the wall in Washington in memory of the friends that they lost in that conflict. There is, at the time that this poem was written, or this song, there were 50,000 names on the Vietnam War, the Vietnam Wall. There are now over 58,000 names, but we made an effort to get that into the poetry, and it didn't quite work, so we'll sing 50,000, but you should know that it is, that 8,000 more names have been added to the wall. These things that people leave at the wall are all kept by the Park Service. Everything is labeled, and you can actually see day by day, every night, they come and they take what's left, including motorcycles and things, and put them in the not the archives, but where they're kept. And they're setting up, and some of them can be seen. If you have a computer, you can log on to the Vietnam Wall, and you can actually see the kind of things that were left behind. So we're going to talk. We're going to speak the words, and our accompanist Peter Dino will play music behind that. There are teddy bears and high school rings and old photographs that mamas bring, that daddies with their young boys play ball. There's combat boots that he used to wear when he was sent over there. There's 50,000 names carved in the wall. They come from all across this land in pickup trucks and minivans, searching for a boy from long ago. They scan the wall and find his name. The teardrops fall like pouring rain, and silently they leave a gift and go. There's stars of David and rosary beads, and crucifixion figurines, and flowers of all colors, large and small. There's a Boy Scout badge and a merit pin, little American flags waving in the wind. There are 50,000 names carved in the wall. The wall. We decided, even though it's hard to follow that song, that we'd rather close this medley with an upbeat song, and it's "God Bless the USA." You've heard it many times, and we're going to sing it with spirit, yes. No, sorry. Okay, Peter? If tomorrow all the things were gone I worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just the people in my life, I thank my lucky stars
to shining sea. From Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time to stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget those who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the
Thank you for that medley, Palmel singers. Now I'm going to recall Erwin Braun to do We Remember Them.
This is dedicated to all the veterans who are no longer here. At the rising of the sun and its going down, we remember them. At the blowing of the wind and the chill of winter, we remember them. At the opening of the buds and the rebirth of spring, we remember them. At the blueness of the sky and the warmth of summer, we remember them. At the rustling of the leaves and the beauty of autumn, we remember them. At the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. As long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us, and we remember them.
Thank you, Erwin. We're going to do tap the singers of Palmel, now we're going to do taps.
We have our bugle calls from Peter Dino on the, it will sound just like a bugle. Please stand for taps, if you can.
Neil, will you please recall the colors? Thank you. Keep standing, please. Thank you, Neil. Now we're going to hear one last number from the Singers of Palmel, God Bless America.
Let's give them the chorus.
would like to thank all of you who showed up today to remember our veterans and for their courage that they showed. I feel that this day is important for all of us to celebrate those who fought for all the freedoms that we now enjoy. Thanks again to all the veterans in this theater, as well as veterans everywhere. Please have a great day, as this is a very special day. By the way, light refreshments are being served outside. Thank you again.
And also we thank Mark Grossman, who's in the back videotaping the proceeding. And another thanks for our wonderful accompanist, Peter Dino. And don't be sure if you missed it, all the pictures are out right outside the door there of the cute guys from long ago.